Where's my voice? It's my turn to be without a voice this week.
Your voice sounds fine.
It doesn't feel like it sounds fine.
It sounds fine.
You know what? Just let me have this, okay?
Okay. What's going on, everybody? We are the Cinefanatics. This is the tagline, the show where the tagline is the title. What is going on? It is so great to be here. Tuesday night, 9:30 Central Time, or like a couple of minutes after, or so, however time works, I guess. But like I said, we are the Cinefanatics. My name is Robert Adams.
My name is Sicky McGee.
Oh, we're using our fake names. Well, then I'm Grizzly Adams.
No, we're using dated references, apparently. My name's Chris Adams.
Yeah. I've been looking forward to this, like, for this past week now.
I have not.
So,
I've been sick.
Oh, that does not look like it's working right. So, first, right off the bat, I would like to give a huge shout-out, thank you to Jake Acavetta, who's in our chat, one of our moderators, for working on that overlay graphic. We got new graphics on here now. He worked on that graphic last week while we were interviewing Roka, threw it in, made some minor changes to it, but yeah, it looks good with the exception that it looks like it's being cut off at the top. So
Looks fine to me.
okay. Well, yeah, mine looks like it's cut off. So y'all let me know. Oh, no, that's why, because you have to scroll up on the screen. Anyways.
Old man with technology over there does not realize that YouTube has a full web page and you can scroll and... Good job.
Ooh, it's getting blurry. Anyways.
Good job.
So, yeah, Grizzly Adams had a beard. Yeah, no, I look like, I feel like I'm starting to look like Robert Redford in that. Well, no. You don't know what I'm referencing.
It doesn't matter. You said you look like Robert Redford, and that's hilarious to me.
What's that meme? I forgot the name of the movie, but he's like a mountain man. The movie's called like Mountain Man Jack or Mountain Man Jim. It's that meme.
Is that the one where he's like...
Where he's like by where he's by like the river and he just like looks over his shoulder and not, and nobody knew for the longest time that was Robert Redford.
Fun fact, that's Robert Redford.
That actually is Robert Redford. It looks nothing like him if like you're only used to Robert Redford from like say Winter Soldier and like the Marvel movies.
If you're only used to Robert Redford from Winter Soldier, then you need to watch some more movies.
Oh yeah, most definitely. What was that? Was it Indecent Proposal with him and Demi Moore, Woody Harrelson? That was a really good movie. 90s kind of a fantasy movie, I would say, which is a weird premise, but yeah, go check that out. Anyways, that's how we're starting this show already. How are you doing?
I am once again in week number 465 of I really need a haircut.
You and me both.
Oh man. Once again though, it's been a crazy situation where I was going to get a haircut about a week before we were going to initially go to the Schmoedown free-for-all in LA, which was supposed to be on March 21st. And then we weren't going to go to that, and I was still going to get a haircut around the same time anyway. And then everything shut down. And so I haven't gotten a haircut since sometime in February.
Yeah.
I'm about 2 months in with no haircut.
It actually doesn't look that bad. I mean, it's definitely longer than you normally have it.
I definitely brushed it a little bit.
Yeah, but I mean, I wouldn't say it looks that bad.
Yeah, but
I'm used to, again, since I was military, I'm used to this being like pretty much like skin tight almost, and this not being as tall as it is, which I think it's kind of hard to see on this.
Yeah, you're looking a little Johnny Bravo there.
Yeah, almost Johnny Bravo. Hey, your name must be Mickey because you're so good looking.
Oh my gosh.
High kick. Whatever.
Yeah, but so on top of that, there's this nonsense that's been going on behind my face. I'm pretty sure you gave it to me, whatever it is.
That's the way I work. If anyone lives with me, and I get something, once I don't have something, someone else has something.
such an unselfish person as he is, he decides to give
I'm a sharing kind of
and
person.
keep giving until the person he's giving to doesn't want anymore.
Yeah.
I'm talking about sickness, specifically just sickness, guys. So, yeah, we assume at this point you just had a cold of some sort.
That's what I'm thinking.
Because I had a fever for like a day.
Yeah, because it wasn't like just like allergies. Allergies are usually like cleared up, especially like say when that first started, I was staying indoors for like 4 days in a row. Typically, allergies should be gone because those allergens that are outside are not in here, and I'm not allergic to my cat or you. So yeah, I believe that was more of a cold, completely destroyed my voice, loss of taste, smell.
Yeah.
It wasn't the COVID.
Yeah. I've been inside for like a week now at this point. Honestly, you wouldn't even know it, but I started feeling better right before we interviewed John Roca last week. So
Yeah.
It's been downhill for a week since then. I think I'm on an uphill now, but we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah.
I've had all sorts of fun.
Hopefully. Yeah, so as for me, again, I've been getting better. I still have remnants of something somewhere back there.
Stop trying to one-up me.
I'm not trying to one up you. I mean, you probably are still definitely better right now than I probably am, ish, because I still feel something in there. The cough is still there every once in a while.
Welcome to Sycophanatics.
Yeah.
I want you to try to say that word.
Sycophanatics?
Oh, I'm surprised.
Sycophantics?
No.
I think that's something else.
That's now. Nope.
Oh my god. We got someone in the chat that's Chris Adams fan.
Yep, and I feel like I have an idea of who that is, and that's fine.
That's awesome.
We're just going to move on past that one.
Yeah. Anyways, to those of y'all in the chat that are joining us, thank you for being here. Tyler is saying I was looking for Grizzly Adams and he did have a beard. Well, yeah, we know our relative has beards. He's related to us. It's in the genetics.
Yes, everybody with the last name Adams is related to us. Oh God.
Even if Adams is spelled with 2 D's.
You know, it's that's the Transylvanian spelling of
The Transylvanian side of the family.
Yeah, that's the Transylvanian way of saying Adams. It's just adds a D.
Yeah. But anyways, so one of the things I wanted to touch upon, at least this week, something new I kind of want to start, because again, not much movie news. Although there is like a good amount of movie news this week. Some of this movie news just broke today. So this is going to be interesting.
Some fun, crazy stuff going on.
But one of the things I wanted to do was, let's touch upon, over the past week, what are some movies you caught up on? What are some movies that you have seen? Since we really don't have new movies to talk about.
Yeah.
What's something that you have seen that you hadn't seen before? Maybe something you rewatched that...
Real quick, actually, before we move on to that,
Okay.
I wanted to actually touch on something else instead, just to kind of talk about this. Let's get it out there, and then we'll carry on after that. If those of you who are part of the Schmoedown community are not aware, one of our new rookies this year, Craig Yaner, the barbarian in the Schmoedown, just lost his wife to cancer last night, and we're all in the community very heartbroken about that. As such, we have posted his GoFundMe in the description below, that Paul Preston, who also recently dealt with the same situation. His wife passed away from cancer also. He set that up for Craig, and so we posted that down in the description below. If you have anything to give at all, especially during this time, it's so rough to have to deal with funeral costs in general.
During a pandemic,
But to have to do it during a pandemic is just... It's unfathomable how hard of a situation this must be. So we want to go ahead and share that GoFundMe. It's in the description below. If you have anything to give, if you can, feel free to please donate to that GoFundMe below. That way they raise the amount needed to be able to give her a proper funeral and everything. So our hearts go out to Craig and his entire family right now.
Yeah. So... unfortunately, there's not really a good way to
There's not. You just gotta
get out of that.
You gotta do it.
But so going back to what I said, what were some movies that you caught up with, say like over this past week? Something again, maybe you just discovered, something you hadn't seen before, or something you may have rewatched and it just tickles your fancy, so you keep rewatching.
We don't talk about tickling my fancy.
Well, I mean, it had to be said at some point.
Jeez. I recently caught up on a couple of sleeper hits called Avengers: Infinity War and Endgame, because those needed to be caught up on. Those were, man, just flew right under the radar there. Nobody saw those. It's not like it's the anniversary of two giant box office hits. But yeah, no, I recently rewatched those because I needed to be reminded of what a crisis looks like in the middle of a pandemic when Thanos snaps away half of all of existence.
Yeah.
You?
So, nothing new over the past week?
Shoot, I don't think I turned on anything new. Being sick, I've just been in the mood just to watch some stuff that's like more comfortable.
Like comfort food.
I want to wrap up in a blanket, wrap up in some movies that I like, I'm used to, shows and stuff that I like and used to, just YouTube content, just easy to digest stuff. So
something that, like, if you pass out and take a nap, it's cool.
I didn't miss much. I've seen it before. Yeah.
I know the big one for me, there's a couple of them actually. But the big one for me,
which is about time.
I absolutely hate admitting, but the fact that it's done now, I'm completely okay with. So it is completely off my plate. I have finally watched Casablanca.
Woo!
Fantastic movie.
He watched The White House.
The White House?
Casablanca.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
You live in Texas.
I know. I just didn't think of that. But yeah, so I finally watched Casablanca. I absolutely recommend it. If you have not seen that, it is a fantastic movie. I know some people might have held back because it's an older movie, it's black and white.
People just don't connect with black and white movies the same.
And I understand that, because when I was younger, I was like, oh, this movie's in black and white, skip.
Bored.
Yeah, bored.
Bored.
It doesn't hit the senses. It's not appealing. It's not visually beautiful. It's just black and white. Mm-hmm. And then you watch Clerks and everything's fine. And you're like, oh, black and white works.
That's what did it for you?
Yeah, Clerks. Well, I mean, that probably was the first black and white movie I watched that I was actually interested in watching. Other than maybe some older movies that had since been colorized, which I can't think of any off the top of my head. Wizard of Oz doesn't count.
No.
So I love Casablanca. That was a fantastic movie, especially because almost every other line in that movie is a quote, like a famous quote. So, every other line, you're like, there's that one, and there's that one.
Definitely probably one of the most quotable classic movies out there.
Yeah.
Give or take, you got some stuff from Gone with the Wind also, but for the most part, I think Casablanca definitely hits that tier of most quotable movie from before 1970.
Yeah. Some other ones I caught up on, or not caught up on, but rewatched. I rewatched Rocketeer, which that one was funny because I hadn't watched that since I was maybe a teenager.
Yeah.
Love that movie. Watched it all the time. I remember watching it as a kid, but there was a lot of it I did not pick up on. I don't know if you've ever watched Rocketeer.
Not yet.
Okay. There was a lot about that movie I didn't understand as a kid. I just knew it was a guy with a rocket on his back, could fly and cool.
Sounds good to me.
And I understood Timothy Dalton because he used to be James Bond, or he was one of the James Bonds, and that he was playing an actor in this movie who is secretly a Nazi. That's not a spoiler or anything, but he's a Nazi and he wants this jetpack for the Nazi army.
Y'all heard it here first. Timothy Dalton is a Nazi.
Yeah. Well, he was in that one. It was kind of a nod to Errol Flynn from back in the day, because
y'all heard it here first. Errol Flynn is a Nazi.
Well, no, you didn't hear it here first. That was actually a very strong rumor back in the golden age of Hollywood.
You heard it here 1,242nd. Errol Flynn is still a Nazi.
Yeah. So
I'm gonna beat this joke into a ground.
Yeah.
Not just any ground, a specific ground.
That's fine. Anyways, if you hadn't seen it in a long time, especially if you haven't seen The Rocketeer since you were a kid, go back, rewatch it. There's a lot of nods to, older Hollywood. I think it's very well done, especially now rewatching it.
Yeah.
That one, and then the other one I just rewatched again, which I will always sing the praises of, was Drag Me to Hell. Horror movie, you're not gonna like it. It is. The only reason I sing the praises of it is it's one of the few PG-13 movies, or PG-13 horror movies that I absolutely love. It is Sam Raimi. It's got a lot of Sam Raimi-isms in it, including the Oldsmobile 88 car from Evil Dead and all his other movies.
I'm still hung up on the fact that you're singing praises of being dragged to hell.
It's a good movie. I highly recommend it. So,
Cinefanatics. Wait, that actually works.
Cinefanatics.
Oh, crap.
Yeah.
Oh, man. But no, you've seen that one, though. So
Yeah,
you're just a rewatch on that.
Yeah, that and Rocketeer were rewatches for me, but Casablanca was my first new movie I say over this past week. So
I'd like to be able to chime in with something next week, so I need to find something I haven't seen. I'm probably not going to choose Rocketeer because that one's just easy to pick out. I might scroll through on some of the premium channels that we have on the cable to try to find something, but man. I want to go through the chat here real quick before we move on.
Adams versus Blue Screen of Death, some curtain. Thank you, Movie Fanobi, for the $3.99 super chat. That was the thing when doing this overlay. I was like, man, there's a lot of blue in this.
Yeah. Don't sing the song.
Oh, you know I was going to sing the song, too.
Don't sing the song.
You know I was going to sing the song.
Because it's in my head, and you can't because we don't have the copyright.
Because I'm blue. Dabba dee dabba die.
Well, that's about the extent we can do right there. No more there, or otherwise we have to pay the big bucks. And that's not a song I want to pay big bucks for.
Speaking of paying big bucks, as you can see in this really nice overlay, we do have the Streamlabs up there, streamlabs.com/cinefanatics.
It's right there.
There is also something new up here that we haven't mentioned yet. We will be talking about it later, but right above my head is our Patreon. We do have a Patreon now set up. It officially went live about an hour ago or so.
Yeah, I did something like that.
So
I did a crazy thing and I just hit live.
Yeah, okay.
We'll see what happens.
So there is a Patreon. I'll make sure. Ooh, wow. I think I just whistled out of that gap in my front
Hey,
teeth.
Chris.
Yeah. Hey, Chris. It's kind of hot outside. Oh, we should not.
Nope.
No Mr. Herbert impressions on our stream. Wow.
It's a funny voice, guys. It's just a funny voice. That's all it is. Just a funny voice.
Yeah. Anyways, we do have a Patreon. We will be going into details as to what the Patreon for us consists of. It's very interesting. It was a lot of fun to put together. So go over there to the Patreon and sign up for that. We'll tell you why later. Just
we'll talk.
Do it
we'll
right
talk
now
about
without
later.
question.
The rest of this chat right now. Real quick, I want to shout this out. See that Christopher Stikelether's in the comments. He said, "Sorry, I haven't been on for a while. My little sister passed away from the COVID-19 virus early Sunday morning, and we had her service today." Stikelether, dude, I'm so sorry, man. That's like the worst. That's the worst news. And as we said for Craig earlier, our hearts go out to you as well. That is not fun in any capacity to have to deal with, and that literally is like the biggest bummer because I know that we were out here really pulling for her too ever since we initially heard the news. So we are so sorry, man. Our hearts definitely go out to you. It's not fun. This is not a fun time that we're all still dealing with right now.
No.
And it's not fun. Let's see, everyone else. Kelsey's saying that her daughter wants to watch Casablanca with her. So Kelsey's over there raising her kids, right? Want to watch these great classic movies. So absolutely, 100%.
And see, now here's a good time. If you have kids, this is the proper time to be exposing them. Don't wait till the kids grow up and they get in their 20s, 30s, however old they get. And then
almost 4.
Then they decide to start a YouTube channel talking about movies, and they're having to admit to the general public, I ain't seen Casablanca. That's not something you want to be able to admit on a movie YouTube channel that you started.
I would probably believe that Stitch hasn't seen Casablanca.
Was that Stitch? That almost actually sounded like was it Gabriel Iglesias, one of his voices that he does. But that is kind of Stitch-like.
Yeah. Fluffy Stitch.
I love Fluffy.
Anything else we really want to cover before we start diving into some of this news?
Just going through, seeing if anyone's got questions in the chat.
We got a few. Looks like we got some questions from our biggest fans here.
Yeah, so we do have a Chris Adams fan and a Robert Adams fan. These are fantastic. The Robert Adams fan. What are your top 3 Fantastic Four characters? That's awesome.
The top 3 fantastic. Well, Doctor Doom.
Oh, is it like? Well, I think they're specifically meaning of the key 4 Fantastic
I know.
Four.
I broke the rules.
I mean, if we're gonna do that, then,
I'm a rebel.
if we're gonna do that, then I will say right off the bat, my most favorite character is Silver Surfer, who started in Fantastic Four. So, Fantastic Four number 48, I have it. Or I had it.
Nerd.
Yeah. Love Silver Surfer. Cannot wait for a live action Silver Surfer movie because apparently they haven't made one yet.
I can't wait for the movies we're just supposed to get right now.
Yeah. Chris, what if you guys pick up more of the lighter blue and black from your logo in the overlay? Yeah. That's kind of what I wanted to see. So, yeah, I worked on this overlay earlier today. I kind of wanted to see how it would look and play out. So, yeah, feel free to give us, like, any criticism of, like, how you think this could look better. Because I went into this knowing it was going to be a lot of blue.
I want more green and yellow.
Yeah.
Doesn't fit the
There's
style
other
at all.
colors in the world besides blue.
No, there's not.
And then there was other ones. Someone else said something that I thought was funny earlier. Where'd it go? Oh yeah, Chris Adams fan. Ever see Casablanca Down? White House Down.
I have seen. Wait, was it White House Down? Wait, no, I've seen Olympus Has Fallen.
Yeah, same thing.
It's basically the same movie, but
That's like when Deep Impact and Armageddon came out at the same time. There was also what was like Volcano, and there was Volcano and Dante's Peak came out at the same time.
Friends with Benefits and No Strings Attached.
Yeah. So like, these movies keep coming out at the same exact time.
They always come out in pairs.
Yeah.
Just like Avengers Infinity War and whatever the DC was trying to do. It wasn't as good. I don't know.
That didn't work.
Nope.
So on to movie news.
Yeah.
Because we don't have any kind of a transition into this. We're just going to talk about movie news.
So we're going to jump on the first thing. Speaking of movies and everything coming out and whether or not we'll actually get to see them, I want to jump on kind of along the same lines. This is the topic that we've been talking about pretty much every week is what does movies look like during a pandemic? It doesn't look like anything right now. In fact, it's not going to look like anything for a while because movie theaters are pretty much straight up not going to be reopening anytime soon. A lot of restrictions are easing, and I'll kind of combine two pieces here into one. Here in Texas, the restrictions on movie theaters are actually opening here pretty soon. I think by like May 1st or so, the restrictions over movie theaters is like, hey, feel free to open.
Statewide is May 1st.
Yeah.
Now, the city of Austin, specifically Travis County, they still have a stay-at-home order that's in effect until May 8th.
Yeah.
So essentially for
Conundrum.
Us, yeah, well, for us here, the local, I can't say it, municipality. That word. The local government, specifically here, county or city, is that still rules. The entire state is, for Texas, is free to open up on May 1st, essentially. Or not essentially, but non-essentially. But here in Austin, we still have to wait until May 8th. But they did announce that movie theaters could be a part of that as long as they follow certain guidelines in regards to, like, there has to be, like, 2 seats apart from any group. So if I went to a movie theater by myself, there has to be 2 empty seats on either side of me. The row in front of me, the row behind me can also not have anybody in it. If you and I go to a movie theater at the same time, we can sit next to each other, but same 2 seats on either side of us, rows empty on the front and back.
Which gives you the problem of most screenings only serving like 5 people.
Yeah. Well, because the limit is that they can't surpass like 25% of their regular capacity.
Yeah.
So again, I think we mentioned this last week. The issue with that is most of your movie theaters, even your small, like indie movie theaters now, all have it set up where you buy tickets online. You actually pick your seat online.
Yep.
So now what that means is these movie theaters are having to overhaul their setup to where, like, hey, you can only click on these certain seats, and then you got to make it where if someone clicks on a seat, now that movie theater has to block out the 2 seats next to them.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's gonna be kind of puzzling.
Sounds like Tyler's saying you have an echo.
Yeah, I usually do. So
Anybody else hear anything about that? Anybody else hear the echo? Robert's. Oh, it just clicked in out of nowhere.
has a majestic echo voice. Does that sound better? I just adjusted my microphone. We need to figure out exactly what this is.
What's causing the echo?
It's something having to do with the microphone because I can turn the microphone off and on, and then it seems to work fine, supposedly. But
Yeah, y'all let us know if there's still an echo going through there.
sounds like a nightmare.
Also, if I have one or not.
Yeah. So I just adjust that. Let us know as soon as you hear if it gets better.
Stop talking for a second. That first one's your mic, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so you can see it kind of jittering around a little bit without us saying anything.
It's just picking up background noise.
Okay.
So
Still echo, guys? The real Robert Adams fan. Now plug it and plug it back in. Get the SD card. Get the SD card.
yeah. Wow, how many That's awesome.
Turn it off, turn it on again.
Well, mute it or unmute it. How about this?
Yeah, do all the stuff. Ooh, complete silence.
Gonna unplug it and then plug it back in.
The frame rate's off. The frame rate.
Yeah, luckily we don't have frame rate issues.
You say that.
Yeah. No, don't knock on there. That's really loud.
It's also barely wood.
So do you have audio coming out? We don't have the audio coming. Every computer and everything in here is completely muted. So
Yeah.
we don't have any echo or like the endless tunnel of sound going on here. We learned that one probably like day one when we would turn this on. Like, oh, that's gonna suck if that's what it's gonna sound like for 2 hours.
I learned that for a long time ago.
Yeah. So I don't know if the audio's any better yet. Maybe this is
Much better. Better. Cool.
Awesome.
Yep. Y'all just sound off again if we have issues.
Catalyst Collective, sing us a song. That is awesome. You don't want me to sing, and he doesn't want me to sing. So,
I do not.
yeah. So, yeah, locally here in Austin, we have gotten reports that Alamo Drafthouse, Violet Crown, and specifically Cinemark, which I guess started in Plano. I didn't know this until I read this article earlier.
Fun.
But all of them are refusing to open.
Yeah.
Just because they don't believe it's safe. And especially something like Alamo Drafthouse that also serves food, that means there's a lot more requirements on how to keep the theater clean and sanitized. They have to use like disposable plasticware instead of like the normal silverware. So yeah, they're choosing to stay closed, which me personally, I think that's a good idea.
Yeah.
I know we briefly mentioned, I guess, last week, that Georgia was opening up like pretty much everything like right away, and we're like, yeah, that's crazy. Well, no,
That's a great idea.
Now our governor's like, yeah, we like that idea too. So, not a huge fan of this idea. I know a lot of retail stores, restaurants, and especially movie theaters are like, yeah, we're going to go ahead and stay closed because we don't want to be the reason why someone gets sick. Completely understand. Great.
Look, if a business can, that wait and see model right now is the best way to go. I understand that some businesses have to open, and if that's the case, I hope that they do their best at cleaning everything up and applying as much safety procedures as possible. Like most businesses right now, including our big grocery store, HEB, the one nearby, you cannot come into the store without wearing a mask on your face. They will turn you away immediately.
Well, the cable store I work at requires a face mask to come in, which is funny because my physical store is outside of the jurisdiction of the city of Austin that's currently requiring it. So I get a lot of the people that come in like, well, we're not in Austin, so therefore you don't have to require. Well, no, our store requires it. That is essentially our home. We require it. So yeah, we're getting a lot of the...
Most businesses require that. So you have a situation right now where movie theaters are everywhere across the country, not just Texas, are basically refusing to open for a while. Now, part of that is definitely for the safety of it. It makes sense. things aren't safe right now. Let's not open yet. The other side of it is, even if you open, there's nothing to show. All the movies have been pushed back, so you can open and you can try showing like older movies again,
which works for the Alamo Drafthouse because that's one of their major business models.
It is, and they could probably work off of doing just a bunch of event screenings and stuff. But the problem is that most theaters would be operating at a loss at that point because no one really feels safe enough yet. Outside of the few people who are out there who are like still picketing and what have you, and have been causing a stir. A lot of people are probably not feeling too safe to go back out right now. In fact, I think there's been recent polls and stuff where most people don't feel safe enough to go back out yet. And what's happening is that you're going to have movie theaters operating at a loss because
they have overhead.
They have overhead. They have electric. They have, in cases like Alamo, they have food they have to pay for. And there's nothing to show, so there's no reason for people to come in anyway.
Well, that's one of those, like, I've always wondered, like, what happens, like, in a normal scenario.
Yeah.
When you go to a movie, say you go to a movie that's still playing in the movie theater, but it's been there for, like, weeks. You go during the day in which most people are at work. You're the only person in that movie theater. They're still going to show the movie because you have to take into account how much does it cost the movie theater to show that movie for that hour and a half, 2 hours that it plays? Because, I mean, you still have lights, you still run a projector, you're still running all of this. In the case of Alamo Drafthouse, you still have to have at least the one waiter who's coming in, like, periodically to check on you to make sure you're okay, you don't need to refill your beer or anything.
Yeah.
How much is that cost worth compared to the one person who's coming in who's paying like the $10-12 for that ticket to sit there for 2 hours?
Yeah.
So it's kind of weird. Now we're in a position where they can open, but they're definitely being forced to potentially take a loss. Mm-hmm. And that's the economics of that is just, I don't know. I think a lot of it is, unfortunately, in this case, like the state government saying, hey, yeah, you're free to do this, without thinking, yeah, they're not going to want to.
Yeah.
And especially like we mentioned last week in the case of movie theaters, you got the movie theaters don't want to open. You got people don't want to go to the movie theaters. And the studios don't want to send a movie to the movie theaters right now because they know all of that.
Yeah, because they know no one's going to go to the theater anyway because everyone's still scared at home. And that's why the situation right now is most theaters, you don't see them opening until July when Tenet is still scheduled to release.
And even at that point, we're like...
If Tenet stays at that release date and doesn't move like everything else has.
Yeah. In which case, if it does stay at that, automatically, hands down, Tenet is the biggest blockbuster of this summer.
Sure. I mean, so at that point, you still have Wonder Woman opening in August. If Tenet moves, then you're not looking at theaters opening until August when Wonder Woman opens. Because most theaters are refusing to open without a major tentpole release, and it's because of those overhead costs. It's not going to be cost effective for them to open without one of those in place. So that's kind of an interesting situation we're looking at right now with theaters and what's going on. Again, this whole issue with the pandemic continually makes this very interesting and a very unprecedented time to keep watching over how the whole movie industry functions and works.
So looking at our chat, I don't know what's going on with our fans.
Yeah,
but I'm kind of enjoying this. So Robert Adams fan, drinking game. Every time Chris swigs water, you drink. Every time Robert goes for his apple juice, this isn't apple juice. This is this is adult apple juice. Like I'm drinking apple juice.
There's no apple in that.
You take 2 shots. Who's in? Here's the thing. I'm gonna throw y'all for a loop.
Oh, he's got water too. That's not water. That's vodka. Good Lord. That's alcohol poisoning immediately if that's vodka. That's a big old glass.
That's a load of vodka right there. Is that a tentative release? Ha! Love it. Love a good pun game right there.
We need sound effects.
Yeah. I will work on that. I'm actually looking into something like that, so we can put sound effects and other like little fun transitions in this.
Need to get that one of them fun little soundboard thingamabobs.
I am looking at getting us a soundboard.
Chaos Collector says, if I'm at a theater with loungers and the person next to me reclines with bare feet that stink, do I have the right to a refund or to have that person ejected?
I guess that's up to the movie theater.
I don't know. I've sat next to plenty of people who are a little questionable in their hygiene, and I've not ever requested anything. I didn't know I could, so I don't know about that.
Yeah, I know people who they just don't believe in Santa Claus or deodorant. And it's not a fun movie going experience, especially if you're at like Alamo Drafthouse and you're trying to eat something or drink a beer and just relax. And no.
All right, some of these comments are getting fun now, so we're gonna go ahead and continue moving on from those, and so kind of some of these, honestly, some of the do we want to let's hit that breaking. Let's hit that breaking because it's along the same line as movie theater chains.
I do, but I want to point out, so this Catalyst Collective, anyone interested in some shares of MoviePass, I know a guy. Here's the thing, we have a mutual friend who recommended for us to get shares of MoviePass.
And I wonder who that mutual friend is.
And that completely just utterly failed, so...
I also know a guy, and I would not seek out his advice on MoviePass anymore.
Yeah.
Catalyst Collective. Anyway, so I want to hit that kind of that breaking news because it kind of falls in line with, theaters and kind of some of the stances they're taking. AMC, and this kind of just broke literally like a couple hours ago, has made a really interesting stance against Universal, because Universal has come out with comments saying how successful their video on demand release of Trolls World Tour was, and saying things along the lines of this is like one of the new ways of being able to release movies, and it's an exciting time.
I think they said something like the Trolls World Tour made more money in 3 weeks of video on demand than the first Trolls made in 5 months of being in the theater.
Yeah.
Like, that's crazy.
Yeah, so AMC has come out and said, hey, that's cool stuff you're saying there, Universal. Guess what? We don't really want to play any of your movies anymore. If you're going to take that kind of stance about the video on demand and kind of completely shun the idea of the theatrical release, no thank you, we don't want your movies here.
Let's keep in mind, AMC is still the one that last we read is like going for bankruptcy.
AMC's in the position to make these hard plays. That's
some brutal game playing right there.
That's not necessarily what we call a pro gamer move. Yeah, you okay, so first of all, let's back up for a second, because AMC is probably the biggest, if not one of the biggest.
It's like AMC or Regal.
Yeah, one of the biggest chains in the country, if not worldwide. So they are the theater that has the momentum, has the chutzpah to be able to make that kind of a claim.
They have the what?
Just move on.
Oh, okay.
They have the ability to make that kind of a claim because
I just want to make sure we can say that word on this channel.
Shut up. They have the ability to make that kind of a claim.
Oh.
Of all the theater chains. So, when it comes up against Universal, though, it's like, do you really want to? Because right now you're saying you're not going to play Fast and Furious 9. You're not going to play the next Jurassic World movie. These movies that have made billions and billions of dollars at the box office and would have brought in a ton of money in concessions. And you're saying, no, we don't want your business here. Seems smart.
Well, I mean, at that point, and this kind of sounds like it's very reminiscent of the Disney and Sony deal over Spider-Man. It really just comes down to who has the biggest cojones, basically. Mm-hmm. And it is, for all intents and purposes, it's a measuring contest. I'm not saying what we're measuring, but there's some measurements going on. And it's like the Mary Poppins ruler, just yeah. Anyways, so
yeah, I mean, you have that situation where it's like, who has the leverage in this case?
Yeah,
because we talk about leverage a lot, and is the leverage more behind Universal or is it behind AMC? Right now, I think it's actually a little bit more behind Universal because, yeah, AMC is going to be one of the largest theater chains, and if they don't choose to show movies from Universal, yeah, Universal is going to take a loss because there's a lot of screens out there that aren't playing their movies. But if they make, if they make 400 million from a Fast and Furious movie instead of 600 million, and I'm just pulling numbers out of nowhere. These would not be the official numbers. I'm sure they'd be way higher.
He's pulling numbers out of his chutzpah.
Out of my chutzpah. If they make 400 million instead of 600 million, Universal's going to take into account that, hey, our movies weren't playing at AMC. We're going to wipe AMC off the board, and let's just look at the figures from that. We're still making a ton of money off this movie. We're doing okay. It's not really going to hurt. It might hurt Universal's bottom line a little bit, but it's not going to hurt their ability to continue making movies and continue putting them out. AMC is not really doing a lot of damage to Universal in that case.
Especially if you're familiar with how movie theaters get paid. Mm-hmm. Generally, and it completely depends on the studio and the movie. But for this example, I would say let's use Fast and Furious 9 because that is a huge tentpole movie for Universal right now. Is that this movie's going to come out and say AMC theaters, they're not going to make any money off the ticket sales. Completely, they only make money off concessions. For probably for that particular movie, it's probably going to be for the first month and a half, 2 months that it plays in an AMC theater.
Yeah.
So therefore, that's all Universal money. Ticket sales for the first month and a half, 2 months at AMC is all going to go directly to Universal. So AMC's not going to see any profit on that. They just will get profit off concessions. Mm-hmm. And then eventually, like say after that 2 months, then that percentage will drop down to like say 75%. Universal will make 75%. AMC will make 25%, and then it keeps dropping until the movie actually falls out of the first run theaters.
Yeah.
Until it goes to second run theaters, which I believe they make all the profit off those ticket sales at that point.
Pretty much.
So yeah, that's potentially going to hurt AMC, I would say, more than it would hurt Universal. But at the same time, if you're looking at like box office numbers, mm-hmm. Like I do enjoy looking at, say, Box Office Mojo, especially when it was the older Box Office Mojo before they changed their layout to almost being completely unreadable. But
tell us how you really feel.
That was. Okay. But like there you could actually see how much money did that movie make in that weekend, and how many screens did it play in front of. And like your big movies, I'm used to seeing it playing in front of like say 4,000 screens or so. I think like Endgame. If someone correct me if I'm wrong if y'all want to. It's weird, but I think Endgame actually did hit the record for how many screens it played in front of. And then Rise of Skywalker may have tempted that or touched upon it, got close to it. I don't know. But I think Endgame holds the record on the most amount of screens so far.
Let's jump back into this in just a second. I want to shout this out because we have it up and we have our first patron.
Oh, really?
At the $5 tier, we have AJ Lancaster.
Awesome.
Which means AJ Lancaster is our first official dude.
Dude? Oh, yeah, because the $5 is the dude level.
It's at the dude level. So he's our first official dude, or it's our first official dude-arino.
So, by that case, I will say AJ Lancaster abides.
AJ Lancaster abides, and he helps us abide.
So, thank you, Mr. AJ Lancaster, for your patronage.
Yeah, that's exciting.
So, again, we're going to dive more into like how our Patreon is going to work later on in this. But I will say now that we're bringing this up, we do have we haven't fully fleshed this out, but we do have an idea of keeping track of like who's the founding fathers of our patronage.
Roka and Dan?
Well, no, not them. That's Schmoedown.
Okay.
But who are the ones who are here at the ground level, the bottom floor, as we start our Patreon?
Yeah.
So we do have plans of keeping track of who's on our Patreon here at the ground level.
Who's on first?
What's on second?
I don't know. Who's on third?
Oh, third base. Anyways.
Dated references.
Yeah. No, that's my favorite comedy bit of all time.
Yeah, it's classic.
Absolutely. I love classic. That bit. But, yeah, so...
So that's a cool thing, guys.
If you jump in right now on the ground level, we are keeping track of who you are and your contribution,
where you
right
live
now.
and your social security number.
That's a little weird.
Oh no, we don't keep track of any of that. It doesn't give us any of that information.
I'm out of apple juice.
Anyway,
I'm gonna have to drink water.
nice.
This sucks.
So if you guys want to jump on the Patreon, it is right there. We again, we will talk about it here a little bit more in a little bit, but again, streamlabs.com/cinefanatics. I want to remind you guys of that because we are taking questions and donations over there if you have any. Once again, also, if you're not comfortable with Streamlabs, Super Chat is possible as well. Just drop those in. We will definitely be highlighting those throughout the rest of the show. So
if the hair keeps getting longer, I'm gonna stop pointing up and just let my hair do it. Like, so if y'all want to go to patreon.com/cinefanatics, my hair is pointing right directly at the.
Yeah, there you
It's
go.
right up there.
And AJ Lancaster just canceled.
Well, fantastic. Thank you, AJ Lancaster.
It's nice having you for a little bit, AJ, and
Thank you
so
for
glad-
thank you for your patronage.
Yeah,
The fact that you went over there and
appreciate it for that little bit. We'll get maybe 5 cents of that. I'm just kidding. He's still there.
okay.
Anyway, so
Movie Fanobi, Adam's brother, are now AJ's personal entertainment conglomerate. I mean,
it's not wrong.
there's that still. But
There's a lot of conglomerates happening back behind.
I mean, if you think about Patreon as like buying stock in a company, I mean,
That's a way to look at it.
so AJ Lancaster is bringing you the tagline tonight.
The tagline sponsored by AJ Lancaster.
Lancaster.
See some of the fun you get to have when you're the first patron.
Yeah, especially in real time as we're constantly doing this.
We're doing it live.
We're doing it live.
Yeah, so as we were talking, AMC versus Universal, it's just not a good battle for AMC right now. They don't really have a whole lot of leg to stand on, I believe, in this battle, especially while they're sitting there talking about, oh, we're gonna go into bankruptcy and everything. Just not the smartest.
You don't hear Universal saying, "Oh, we're going to go into bankruptcy."
Yeah, Universal's fine.
Yeah, no, yeah,
So's
they're going to
Disney.
be even better when Fast and Furious 9 comes out.
Look, I'll even say this, like Disney, whose parks are currently shut down, whose movies are not coming out, who really only are operating off of Disney Plus right now and whatever else they have out in the works.
Speaking of which, this wasn't on our list of movie news, but it is kind of
They're fine too.
it's kind of an off the wall story. Did you hear about the Disney heir? What she had to say about Disney? Apparently, Abigail Disney, who I think her name's Abigail. It's been a couple of days since I read this, but she is like the great granddaughter of Walt Disney, something like that.
He's already had a great granddaughter.
I think so there was Walt Disney, and then his son was Roy Disney. I think she is the granddaughter of Roy Disney,
Interesting.
if I remember the article I read. But anyway, so she came out. She doesn't
Tell
have.
me you don't keep up with your
She doesn't have.
Disney family.
No, she doesn't have. I don't keep track of the Walmart like collective either. I mean that massive group. But apparently she came out because the Walt Disney had laid off or furloughed a lot of employees, I guess specifically from the parks.
Yeah.
And so she came out just basically saying this is completely BS. So yeah, that's bad when you got like an actual heir of the Disney empire that's come out like, that was a bad business decision. I just thought that was interesting. I wonder how do you do that from a business standpoint when someone who is an heir of your namesake, the reason that you exist, when they have such a strong opinion, especially in this day and age where you can easily get that opinion out. Twitter, boom, there, everyone knows.
I mean, that person has the right to. It's not towing the company line whatsoever. But if your great grandfather is the one who created the company, guess what? Going to do it anyway.
Yeah, I mean, she's got the name, so therefore, Disney does something, her name's involved. Hey, what? Apparently, I forgot to tell my cat we're live streaming.
Hey, we're live streaming. Cut it out. Just real quick, we also just got an onslaught of some new patrons, but I'm going to go ahead and hold back, guys. Thank you all for jumping on there. We will shout every single one of you out when we get to talking about the Patreon. So if you are sticking around till then, you'll get to hear us shout you out and talk about all the fun stuff that you now get as a part of the Patreon. If you're gonna come back later, please come back later because we're gonna mention you by name. But yeah, we'll mention everybody here in just a second.
Is it a bunch of like Chris Adams and Robert Adams fans?
No, it's real people.
They're real people too. They just have a weird choice of screen name.
Yeah. So
I wouldn't name myself Robert Adams if I had the choice. I
mean, let me move into.
Just saying. Speaking of Universal,
you wouldn't name Robert Adams either. Oh, we want to do that one next.
Yeah, actually, I mean it's a good segue.
I guess we can.
Yeah.
Speaking of Universal.
Yeah, because the other one I would say leave that for the top tier one. Yeah.
The top tier of the Patreon.
No.
Okay. Speaking of Universal, I'll wait till take a drink after I say this.
Y'all can't take shots yet.
Haha. Yeah. So the Lego movie news came out this week that Lego, the movie franchise, the franchise of the hot selling children's toy that we all grew up with for decades and decades and decades.
By the way, if y'all are wondering, that is actually the Lego version of us in the thumbnail.
Yeah.
We actually own like the little Lego figures of that. We did the review for the Lego 2 movie.
Yeah.
And we actually did that with those Lego figures. I animated that entire review where we're moving and whatnot. If y'all haven't seen that, go check that out because that was a lot of fun to put together. I know it's been a while since Lego 2's been out, and you probably don't really care about someone's opinion or review of the movie, but just for like visual wise,
the poops and giggles.
It was a lot of fun to put that together. So if y'all want to see more of our Lego selves, go check out our Lego 2 review.
Yeah, it was interesting. But apparently,
random plug.
Apparently, it's check out the iCard. Yeah, I'm just kidding. There's no iCard. Apparently, it's jumping ship though. The entire franchise jumping ship from Warner Brothers over to Universal, which really. The only thing I really question about this, and it's like that's cool. It's moving from one big studio to another big studio. It'll survive just fine over at a new studio. I think Universal can even do a lot of fun new things with it that maybe Warner Brothers wasn't thinking about.
Like keep the Lego movies out of AMC theaters.
Keep the Lego movies out of AMC theaters. Exactly. But I think. The real question here, and the one we want to pose, is what?
What do you want?
Gosh.
Oh, I haven't fed her tonight. That's what.
Good job. You didn't feed her before we went live. So, guys. Remember, when you have a cat and a live YouTube show, always take care of your cat before you take care of the live YouTube show. Feed your cat
first. Always take care of the cat before you take care of yourself.
That's what I just said.
Exactly.
So
she's like, now that you realize it, can you get off your butt and go feed me? Should I go feed her? Because she's just going to continue to complain.
Just a second. She'll be fine for a second more. I'll head to the chat after we talk about this news story.
Yeah.
So the real question here is not what at the cat. The real question here is what's going to happen to some of the licensing of the characters that have existed in a Lego movie prior to it moving over to Universal. AKA, what's going to happen to Lego Batman? Because that's the big one.
So, I remember when we saw this news drop, and that was, even I tweeted out about that.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking that because there's, they did the Lego Batman movie, and there's a lot of Warner Brothers properties involved in the Lego universe. But then I realized there's a lot of other ones in there that aren't necessarily Warner Brothers properties.
Yeah.
I might be wrong on them, but I remember the first Lego movie. There was a Lego Gandalf, mm-hmm. Lego Michelangelo. I don't know. I'm not 100% certain if especially at the time that movie came out, if these were properties owned by Warner Brothers,
who had the controlling rights to Lord of the Rings and Ninja Turtles.
Yeah.
Or were you talking about the painter?
No. Wait, the painter? What, Leonardo da Vinci?
Sure.
I think actually he was in that too. Or no, you're talking about for Michelangelo the Ninja Turtle was in there. I think Leonardo da Vinci. Yeah, I know it's so confusing.
This is what I have
But
to work
Leonardo
with.
da Vinci, I actually think was in the first Lego movie as well.
Yeah, I think they made the joke of the painters versus the Ninja Turtles.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't know who has the rights to that. And the other thing is the Lego movies are a comedy.
Yeah,
It may fall under parody. So
possible.
you could have rights to those characters as long as you use them like in a small amount of time, and you're clearly using it in a parody version. I mean, kind of like Weird Al Yankovic songs where he's basically parodying, but therefore he can copy. He does still, like, I know he still asks the original artist for permission, but he doesn't have to.
Right.
Even so, that's why Coolio was like, no, you can't do Amish Paradise, but he still did it anyways.
At least gave a good feeling there.
Heads up there.
Give a heads up. Hey, I'm going to do this.
Now, regardless of what YouTube says, because no matter if you're doing anything for parody on YouTube, it's still a copyright strike. So
Yeah.
go figure.
Hey, calm down. We're going to get struck.
Yeah.
So one of the big things, and one of the things that makes me question this though is because, again, the Lego movie was Warner Brothers, but the first one featured Star Wars characters.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
You had Han Solo, Lando, you had C-3PO, you had Chewbacca.
When did that come out? That came out
several years ago.
2014, I believe.
It came out a while ago.
Movie release dates.
Right. So I mean, you had I believe it was Billy D. Williams was doing the voice of Lando. You had Anthony Daniels doing the voice of C-3PO.
Yeah.
They actually casted them to do the voices of their Lego characters in the movie. So licensing, how does licensing with Lego work? Because I think Lego has a different form of licensing than most other movies in their use of characters goes.
For example, real quick, the little Lego figures that we had of ourselves from the thumbnail, we actually have a little bricks and minifigs store that's like down the road from us here.
Mm-hmm.
That we spent like hours like combing through all the random like Lego pieces, basically trying to piece our Lego selves together. But they also sell like the actual Lego versions of like these licensed characters. So
Yeah.
they did have like the DC, the Marvel, the Lord of the Rings, all these Lego characters they had like in a glass case, and they're absolutely gorgeous. And I'm not even a huge Lego fan,
The
but
Lego characters are gorgeous.
yeah, well, I mean, when you get like a massive amount of Lego characters like that all in one like little central location, I don't care what it is you're collecting. You get like, say, Hummel figures. You get a bunch of Hummel figures all together. It looks impressive. It looks cool. Most of y'all probably don't know what Hummel figures are. Thanks, Mom. But she collected Hummel figures, right?
Sure.
Yeah, I guess.
For the purpose of this conversation, yes.
Yeah, way to play into that and then call it out. But that's what I'm wondering is Lego is a property of itself.
Mm-hmm.
Lego pays, say, Marvel to license its characters to be able to make the Lego Spider-Man or whatever.
Yeah.
Does the Lego property itself hold that license when it transfers it to a different medium? And I'm going straight into almost quoting Jane Silent Bob Strikes Back, which I know you're not this familiar with. But the whole point of Jane Silent Bob Strikes Back is the characters of Jane Silent Bob are trying to get to Hollywood to stop a movie, Blunt Man and Chronic, that's being made of their likeness. The unfortunate side is the comic book creators, Banky and Holden, did not pay Jane Silent Bob for their likeness rights to translate from a comic book that they created to a movie. In which case, you do have to pay that licensing right for it to change. So I'm wondering if that's the same with Lego. The only reason I question it is because, one, Lego is a real life company, and it's a massively huge company with a lot of licenses. Do they automatically option that license? Like, hey, if we're going to make Marvel characters, you also have to sign off on the fact that we may at some point put these Marvel characters into a movie or a video game or some other kind of medium besides just plastic action figures.
And they can put them in everything because Lego does have playsets. They have, comics. They have video games. They have movies. They have all sorts of stuff. And so they are now a multimedia company, not just a little plastic toy company as they once were. So yeah, you might have different rules for, say, Lego than you do for a lot of other media companies, and how they operate and use different characters from different companies.
Only because they have that license potentially from the get-go. Again, it just completely depends on how the contract on that is signed.
So the question is, are we going to see Lego Batman now that it's moving over to Universal? Maybe.
But what we will see is Lego Dominic Toretto drinking a Lego Corona.
Did you almost say Lego Dominic Totino?
Totino? Totino's pizza. Here's the thing, again,
pizza.
I haven't had the ability to taste for like the past 2+ weeks or so Totino's pizza sounds fantastic, actually.
Yeah.
I know how to cook. I can cook really good things. My steak skills are fantastic. But I'm down for a Totino's pizza, especially if you dip it in some really crappy Hidden Valley Ranch. I am down.
Get you a man who can both steak and Totino pizza.
Oh yeah.
Speaking of eating food, go feed your cat.
Yeah.
I'm gonna jump into the chat here, right here.
I will go feed the cat because she won't shut the hell up.
Nice. Jumping back into the chat here, guys. I see a lot of y'all are talking about, because there's a combination of both Lego and cats happening right now, Lego cats. Gonna be better than regular cats, because good lord, that movie was awful.
Blow them up.
Yeah, I like AJ here says, I'm not gonna be satisfied until Dame Judi Dench dresses up as a Lego cat. You know what? Honestly, I probably won't be satisfied until that either. I think that's a great suggestion, and I don't... Honestly, I want to see it, and I don't.
Are they going to show her Lego butthole?
There's no such thing as a Lego butthole. To my knowledge. Maybe somewhere on the internet. I'm not saying go search that. Please don't. Because I don't want to know anything about it.
Ooh, God. We need a new table, y'all.
Well, you just need to not hit it every time you sit down.
I'm a big guy. I hit tables.
Don't be a big guy. Movie Fanobi says your mic just slowly gets out of phase to the echo. So that's something to keep in mind, is that your mic is slowly moving into echo territory.
And here's the thing, we've used this my mic that I'm currently using is the one that we've had for over a year now.
Kelsey, please don't send me links. For the love of all things good and holy, please do not send me links. I will delete every single thing that is sent to me immediately.
Send him links.
No.
No. So, yeah, my microphone is the one that we've been using for a while. So, we've taken this when we were filming stuff at the Houston Schmoedown event last year. Sorry, I brought that up, guys. I know that stings for some of y'all.
What's wrong with you?
I know.
What's the matter with you?
But
I'm doing the show by myself now.
We brought this microphone with us. It's traveled with us to LA a couple of times because we filmed stuff in LA.
Sure.
Yeah, we did film some Schmoedown reactions in hotel rooms in LA.
Yep.
And the microphone came with us. So it might just be the microphone needs... I might just need to replace the cord. The cord's probably got to shorten it. But anyways, that's not really entertaining or fascinating, so let's just move on from that.
So they're still wanting to send links. I just want to be clear about something. Bagel Boy says, please don't call me Bagel Boy, and everybody wants to continue calling him Bagel Boy. That's not this situation. Do not send us links. We'll ban you from everything. We'll ban you from Patreon. If you send me links, I am not taking your money. You can have your own opinion about that. That's my opinion. I do not want links.
Anyways, I have redone my microphone again. Hopefully that sounds better.
Yeah, again, let me know if there's any echo on my microphone. If not, we might need to retweak your microphone a little bit.
Yeah.
At some point, somehow.
Or I'll just buy a much better microphone. I'm usually a big fan. These are the blue...
Blue Yeti?
The Yeti.
The Yeti.
And I've been a fan of the sound quality
even the
of
mics
these.
are blue.
Yeah. Well... links up, ready to go. Thanks, Paul. PLD.
Anyway.
I like these microphones. The sound quality out of them have been fantastic, but apparently I found a flaw with them.
Yeah. So, how the mic sound? The mic sound pretty good now. I could unmute the video and find out ourselves, but then there'd be a slight.
Now you sound great again.
Cool.
Yep. So
just gonna have to unplug and
basically,
replug.
just let me know the second you hear an echo, and that's what I'm gonna have to do for right now.
I wonder if it's a problem with the cord.
That's what I'm thinking. Typically, on most electronic equipment, it's the cord that has the short first, rather than the physical thing itself.
Yep. Yeah, Danny, these are your mods too. You know, they're the ones that we need right now, and the ones that we don't deserve. I don't even know.
Yeah, especially when I don't know if they're.
So, guys, the Academy is doing some things.
Yeah, the Academy's changing things up here.
The Academy is moving some stuff around. Let me actually bring up this article because there's a lot of interesting stuff happening here, with which there is. Oh God, I have a message. Oh, never mind. There's a lot of stuff with which is happening in regards to both how movies are being are having to be forced to come out right now, and just the sound categories.
Speaking of sound categories, do not use these microphones. Apparently, they echo. Movie Fanobi is making the joke I was wanting to make Robert's mic great again.
Oh, jeez.
Like it.
So I'll bring this up. So Jeff Snyder wrote this over on the Collider.com side, that there are some rules of eligibility and stuff that the Academy is actually relaxing for this go around, and it's fine. I mean, you look at the situation; we're in an unprecedented time, so that means some unprecedented changes need to occur. And I'll just kind of read what he wrote a little bit here. He's saying that movies that debut on video on demand and streaming services are now going to be eligible for the Academy Awards so long as they were scheduled for theatrical release at one point. So you're looking at a situation where Trolls World Tour is effectively eligible for, say, the best animated picture category. Whereas, and as he brought up as an example, HBO's drama Bad Education starring Hugh Jackman is not, because that movie was never scheduled for a theatrical release. It was always just planned to be on HBO.
Yeah.
So what you have is movies that were supposed to come out in theaters, but they decided to go ahead and push them towards video on demand. Those are going to be eligible for the categories that they would be eligible for in the Academy Awards. I believe also it looks like that they have to also have a 7-day run. If I'm reading that correctly, they also have to have a 7-day run in theaters once the theaters open back up, and that's going to be the ones that are like Academy sponsored or what have you type theaters. So in the big cities.
Yeah, and what I read earlier, like, because I went to the Academy's website to actually read the official Academy details of it. Mm-hmm. It doesn't sound like it has to have that 7-day run. But what they are doing is, once theaters do open back up, for those movies that are playing in theaters, instead of going straight video on demand, the rule was that it has to play in a theater, specifically in Los Angeles County, mm-hmm. for at least 7 days for it to qualify for the Academy.
Yeah.
What they're loosening up on that is now that they have a list of other cities and places it can play, like New York or the Bay Area.
Yeah.
So once movie theaters do open back up this year, they're allowed to play outside of LA, just in case it might be a movie that, due to financial restrictions because of what's going on this year, mm-hmm. it may not be able to get a showing for 7 days in Los Angeles County.
Yeah.
It may be better for movie studios to just pump a copy out to, like, say, New York and have it play New York City for 7 days. Therefore, it still would get that qualification, which, if there wasn't a pandemic, it potentially still would have played at least in Los Angeles County, yep. if not country, worldwide, whatever.
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, it's kind of interesting that I mean, first of all, it's taking a pandemic, a worldwide sickness, essentially, to even start getting the Academy to think about the idea of maybe some of these movies that are released just on the video on demand should be considered still for an award.
Let's not kid ourselves. Trolls World Tour is not going to be.
It's not going to win.
It's
anything.
not going to be best picture material.
No,
but I mean, it potentially could be up there for like best animated, maybe best song.
It's definitely going to be up there. I mean, you got best animated. It's going to right now. Its competition is probably going to at least be Scoob, because Scoob is going to be released directly onto video on demand and all that too.
Like Zoink Scoob.
Yeah, exactly. So you have that. I mean, it's going to go up against, say, Soul still releases this year. Later on this year, it's going to go up against Pixar. At least probably 2 Pixar movies, maybe. That's okay. But so is Trolls going to want to be in that category? I don't know. That's kind of a side topic, but
that's the thing. Like, if Soul is going to be the winner for Pixar, that at least Pixar seemingly is making it look like, you might not even want to bother. The amount of money it would cost the studio
to get a nomination,
to put Trolls in a theater for those 7 days, it might not be worth it if a movie like Soul is going to come out and just completely trample the competition anyways. Yeah. So why bother at this point? Why bother spending that extra money? Yeah. It makes sense if there wasn't a pandemic, so therefore you have an entire year for people to appreciate your movie. But
I think the question comes back to something that we've posed at the beginning when we talked about this before, which is, does this actually give way for some of these smaller pictures to actually have the opportunity to be recognized for Academy in a different way than otherwise they would have before? A lot of the smaller independent fare that's getting some recognition, say through drive-through theaters that are still open right now. Drive-in theaters, yeah. Just drive on through. Hey, look, there's the movie.
There's a movie right there.
Keep on going.
There it goes.
I could watch it at home. Drive-in theaters right now that are still open are playing some of these more independent movies because that's what the studios are releasing right now. Some studios are. So, are we getting more of an opportunity for maybe those to be highlighted? I don't know.
Potentially, but unfortunately, most of the movies that are playing in drive-thru are your movies that have already been out for a while. They're not going to qualify for anything.
Yeah. So, on the other end of the rules and everything that the Academy is messing around with, they're looking at consolidating the sound editing and sound mixing categories into one category, which is just best sound. And in some cases that makes sense because you have situations a lot of times where it is the same movie winning both categories.
And your general layman is not going to know what's the difference between sound editing and sound mixing.
Right.
That doesn't make any sense. Like, cool. And it actually has been, I would say, like me personally, I really haven't known the difference between sound editing and sound mixing. I make videos for YouTube. I adjust sound quality and levels and stuff. I don't know the difference between a movie's sound mixing and sound editing.
And that's why his mic doesn't work, everybody.
There we go. There's a good, reasonable explanation right there. But you were waiting to trample on that one, huh?
Nope, just came to me because I'm good at improv.
Good job. But even I'm like, okay, well, so that movie had some really good sound. I heard things. Yeah. It doesn't make sense. Now, I know you have your people who either work in the industry or maybe even your audiophiles who are going to be like, no, you need to keep those separate because mixing the sound and editing sound is two completely different monsters. Those need to be recognized on different levels. And I'm willing to bet we're going to hear something about this at some point. Because this news just broke, today? About the Academy?
Yeah, so that article I see was written up by Snyder today. So
was Snyder the one who broke that?
Believe so. Correct. Feel free to correct me if I'm wrong.
Snyder's always got like the best like inside scoops on stuff like this.
It's like he's called the N Snyder or something.
The N Snyder, yeah.
Yeah. So what I'm questioning is, are we going to have a situation where because they're consolidating two categories, is the amount of nominations going to go up for that?
So I believe they said that's going to change the nominations right now is at 24. This would change it down to 23.
Well, categories, that's televised categories. We're talking about the nominations for that specific category. Are you looking at a situation where both sound editing and sound mixing might have had 5 nominations each? Okay, now this category is now going to consist of 10 nominations, just in case there's some other movies that could have gotten in there if there wasn't a movie taking up both categories already anyway.
Especially, like, is there, again, completely clueless on editing versus mixing, but what happens to one movie that had really good mixing but really terrible editing? It's going to get a nomination in a very general best sound category.
Mm-hmm. They did something right with the sound. Whether it was the mixing or the editing, it doesn't matter. They did something award-worthy with the sound, therefore they are nominated.
Yeah.
And so, that just plays back into the same thing where I'm saying, like, hey, let's just raise the nomination categories or amount of nominations for almost all of these categories, because there's consistently every year way more people that do need to be highlighted than who do get it. And I understand that for some people's arguments that kind of waters down the award. If everybody can be nominated for it, does it really have as much value? You're still not nominating everybody.
You're nowhere near, like, even Best Picture for the past, like, has it been almost like 10 years since they expanded that? Almost. Something like that.
It's been a while.
They expanded it to allowing 10. Now the thing is pretty much every year they haven't actually done 10. There's been movies that should have been last year. Great example. Me personally, I think you probably agree, and I would assume most of the general public would agree. Avengers Endgame probably should have been nominated for a Best Picture. It wasn't going to win.
No,
but
it's not the Academy's movie to win ever.
But it definitely should have been nominated. Now the thing is you go back to
you have to look at narrative achievement, technical achievement. You have to look at all the achievement. That
but
movie should have been nominated.
You go back, Black Panther was nominated for Best Picture. It didn't win.
Yeah.
But it was nominated as well. So it's not outside the realm of possibility for a popular blockbuster and or a comic book based movie to be nominated for Best Picture. And I definitely think that Avengers Endgame should have been in there. Not only was it a good movie, it was our number 1 pick for the entire year last year. Not that we're like the most influential, inspiring.
Do what we say. We have 1,200 some odd subscribers on YouTube.
Yeah. So, speaking of which, if there's a lot of new people in our chat, if you're not subscribed to us, make sure you hit that subscribe, hit that bell, let you know when we're going to upload new videos, once we actually do.
Whenever there's movies to talk about again.
Yeah. But most engaging sound award goes to Robert Adams' Mike. I absolutely agree. So, good job.
So what's happening here is that you have this consolidation of 2 categories, and it's moving the amount of categories that the Academy is presenting from 24 down to 23. Now, I can see how that saves them time in the show if they don't replace with another category,
but
which there is a lot of talks of they need to replace with a best stunt category.
Exactly.
Which I don't believe they are looking at doing this year, and understandably, there's just so much happening this year already at this point that it's. Let's wait. Let's hold off on that one. Let's do that next year when we're not having to contend with the current issue.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Yes, PLD, hit that thumbs up.
Hit that thumbs up. Slap that like button and hit the subscribe.
Like, subscribe, submit questions to streamlabs.com/cinephanatics. Make sure you join the Patreon. Anyways, as you were saying.
Yeah. So.
It's the weirdness of being a YouTuber.
They're also, and this is kind of like a minor thing as compared to everything else, they're also getting rid of the DVD screeners for the Academy. They are moving strictly to their own streaming. The Academy is doing its own like private streaming service for the Academy members only, in which case these movies will be available to stream for Academy members to watch and then vote on.
Which I'm wondering if that's going to potentially cut down on the amount of piracy. Because here's the thing. Every year when the Oscars come out, these DVD screeners go out.
Yeah.
The piracy of these movies runs rampant.
Yo ho, yo ho.
Yeah. I mean, there are a lot of these movies, for some reason, like you would think these are sent to people who appreciate movies, who respect the movies, but for some reason that always manages to fall into the hands of someone who's going to copy it and then upload it onto the internet. And you could tell because those movies always have like, this is a screener copy or for your consideration watermark throughout the movie.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if it will cut down on the amount that's going to happen. Now the thing is like if something is made a digital product, I'm almost certain it can be grabbed at some point, somehow, some way.
Just not by your common person, like say a DVD. Ripping off a DVD might have been able to.
Yeah, which ripping off a DVD, I mean, that was the problem with those is they sent out DVD screeners.
Yeah.
Any idiot could rip off a DVD now. I mean, it's you put a DVD in the thing and just hit go. And
well, joke's on you. I'm not any idiot.
yeah, but I mean, you also own an iMac that doesn't have a CD or DVD player attached to it. Same as the iMac I'm using to run this current live stream. There is no CD DVD player on these computers. In fact, a lot of computers are doing away with it. I think I have a PC also that doesn't have a CD or DVD drive. So they're all getting away from that physical media issue.
Yeah.
But again, what I'm wondering is if something is made digitally, is it possible that digital copy can be grabbed and then released that way as well? Yeah. How much of the piracy is this actually going to curb?
Yep. So, yeah, it's a lot of interesting stuff that the Academy is doing. We're seeing every year now the Academy is coming out with something to try to I don't know if it's just keep up with the times or keep up with all the changes or try to continue to make sure that they get the ratings that they need to hit every single year. A lot of interesting stuff. I mean, they've gone 2 years now without a host. It's worked out for them, surprisingly.
Sort of, but I mean,
I do miss a good host, but I also like the comedy bits that they have come up with.
They haven't had a host, but I still feel like every time that they announce, "Hey, we're not going to have a host again this year," I feel like all that is constantly going to be a callback to the Kevin Hart issue that they had.
Yeah.
And which that was a huge fiasco that should have never happened.
Yeah.
And I think that every time they say there's no host, I think that puts the Academy kind of in a little bit of a negative light, a negative opinion. So
it's one of those things where they have a happy accident, essentially.
Yeah, unfortunately.
But no, I do miss a good host on that show. So maybe they'll try it again someday.
Get Billy Crystal back. I like a good old classic Billy Crystal hosting the Oscars.
I like a solid Crystal.
Solid Crystal.
A nice solid Crystal.
How about Hugh Jackman? Hugh Jackman was good.
I like a huge jacked man too.
Ew! Don't ever say that. In
talking
public.
about Hugh Jackman.
Oh, okay.
What's wrong with you? Let's here look at some of these little chats here. I'm feeling it, guys. I'm feeling it. I've been sick all week, and I'm almost ready for bed.
I'm feeling it too, but I have a feeling when I say I'm feeling it,
You're feeling
mean
something
the same
different.
thing.
You're feeling something different.
It means something completely different.
Movie Fanobi is taking off. Says good night, everybody. One thing that's interesting is that superhero movies always get the oversaturation argument, so now we're almost getting a forced break. I think that's good for the genre. That's an interesting point because you have a situation where Wonder Woman, which was supposed to come out earlier, is now coming out in August, and Black Widow got forced to November, then forced all of Marvel's schedule back.
They all just jumped.
Which is flipping around and playing around too still. And for those of you who haven't checked out yet, go over to Dan Merle's channel. He's still doing charting over there. He actually brought up a very interesting set of numbers, which is the amount of time. What is the greatest amount of time between big Marvel Cinematic Universe releases? And right now, between Spider-Man: Far From Home and Black Widow, is the second largest gap. The first one being when Incredible Hulk through Iron Man 2 came out, because it was almost like a year to a year and a half before Iron Man 2 came out and continued the universe.
Anyway, so yeah, Movie Fanobi's taking off. Have a great evening, Movie Fanobi. Thank you for joining us in the chat.
I saw that you jumped on the Patreon also, so thank you so much for doing that.
Yes.
And come back later. I'm sure we will mention you again when we talk about the Patreon here in a minute.
Yep.
So, a lot of good chats here. I'm so happy that we have like an active, engaged audience here. Thankful for all you guys jumping in here. It looks like our fans might have disappeared. That's hilarious.
They just switched back to their regular profile names.
Yeah, dang it, Jake. Jake and Paul. Oh, those jokesters. Yeah, I think we can jump into. We want to jump into the page. Yeah, let's jump into the Patreon.
Schmoedown.
First?
Let's cover some Schmoedown real quick.
You know what? On this channel, we fly by the seat of our pants, and that's about the extent I want to take
you're
that.
not allowed to show the seat of your pants on this live
That's
stream.
about the extent I want to take that analogy.
Yeah. So unfortunately, because I've been again touching upon our personal sickness, I've been doing a little bit better. But mostly because unfortunately I passed whatever I had on to him.
Thank you for that, by the way. I don't know if I've ever actually given you gratitude for that. I thank you because I get to take the entire week off and not do any work at all, and it's been great not earning money.
You're oh so welcome. So yeah, unfortunately he hasn't been able to work this week, so yeah. Rent's gonna be fun. Anyways, because he's had to unfortunately take some time off, we weren't able.
Yeah, so rent's gonna be fun, guys. Jump on that Patreon and the Streamlabs.
That's not what I meant, but cool.
Yeah.
That's a nice little segue, I guess. Again, if you have any questions, there's Streamlabs, there's Super Chat, there's Patreon. Yeah,
keep our studio lights on and me in a bed.
Keep the studio lights on. I just bought these new lights too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, by the way, let us know what y'all think. We got new lights here, so hopefully this looks a lot better. I mean, the screen that we're looking at on
crisper.
My computer over here looks pretty good.
Looks crisper.
I'm actually really happy with these lights.
Anyway.
So, yeah, unfortunately, we weren't able to do a reaction to, was it Claudia Dolph versus the Warfather?
Yep, we missed that one because we were not... Well, you were coming out of something, and I was going into something.
Which, yeah, that's what she says. Anyway, so...
This isn't called action. We don't do that
here. We did watch that episode. Unfortunately, we weren't able to film a reaction to it, but, I had a perfect score the entire time playing along, so, yeah, I'm awesome. Oh, no, I did miss some, didn't I?
Just a few.
Oh, never mind then. Completely ignore everything I just said. So...
Well, we are going to give you our thoughts to this match right now, just because we didn't do that full reaction, so we still want to...
Chandru cutscene was amazing.
Yeah, we want to get something out there. Real quick, for anyone who's still new to this and does not know what the Schmoedown is, it's basically if movie trivia met the fun, the theatrics of wrestling. You know, you have factions, you have rivalries, you have all that stuff with the rankings of like UFC. It's basically taking movie trivia and making it a sport with theatrical side to it too. Yep. It's a lot of fun. It is definitely worth checking out. Go over to the Schmoedown Entertainment Network. Just watch a couple of those, get hooked like we did, and you'll thank us later.
And it's easy to play along with. If you are a fan of movies in any shape or form, go check out a match, go watch it, play along with it, and it's definitely easy, I would say, to get hooked into, because you're going to be like, oh, I know the answer to this. Let me continue watching these people play, and let me see if I can beat the ones who are playing. It's fantastic to watch to play along with.
As people who don't watch sports, play sports, it is our sports.
Especially because there are no sports right now.
Also, there's no sports right now.
So, great to play along with.
Yeah, and they've got some fun matches right now over on their Patreon too. So if you get hooked, jump on their Patreon also and watch some of those fun new exhibitions that they're releasing over there. But yeah, this one's was an interesting one because first of all, yeah, let's talk about that cutscene at the beginning. You have the face-off between Chandru and Smets. Smets currently holding the belt for all the inner geekdom, and Chandru kind of feeling himself a little bit. That's an actual term. Don't give me that look. Just keep up with what the kids are saying nowadays. Jeez, old man.
Phrasing?
No, keep up with what the kids are saying.
He was flossing.
Not everything is a phrase. Anyway,
Chandru wants that belt.
Yeah, Chandru wants that belt so he can
hold his pants up. I don't know.
so he can floss with it. Either way, Chandru was having some fun in the face of Smets, being his normal happy-go-lucky, plucky self, and I'm sure, unlike Star-Lord, he knows what that word means. And
now, here's the behind the scenes. We have talked to Chandru multiple times in the studio, at events. We love Chandru.
Chandru is honestly who he comes across as on camera.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, there's this talk of the real Chandru,
which we have yet to experience the real Chandru.
We've gotten bits and pieces of. I think the likes of Brandon, the Hitman, Hotman Hannah, and...
Nicely said.
Yeah. And now Smets are kind of bringing out some of these true colors, so to speak, in Chandru's personality.
I see your true
Please
colors.
Stop. Good Lord.
Coming
No.
through.
Stop. God. So yeah, we might be seeing the true heel nature of Handrew. That's a mixture of Brandon, Hannah, and Chandru, guys. Handrew, we just invented something here.
Handrew?
I think
that sounds like something we should not be talking about on our channel.
I think we just invented something here.
Hashtag Handrew.
Can somebody please do some fan art somewhere of a mixture between
I
Brandon
don't want to see
Shut
that fan
up!
art.
Someone do a mixture of Brandon, Hannah, and Chandru. I want to see what this fan art of the two of them mashed together looks like.
I don't.
Stop taking it in that direction. Good Lord, that's annoying. I'm going to give you crap for that. No, I want to see Chandru in a suit. That's where that goes to.
Okay.
Never mind. Good Lord. It's bad enough I'm feeling sick right now. I have to deal with your dumb frick. Anyway, yeah. I liked this because you got that little glimpse of Chandru saying, "I'm gonna get that belt from you," and Smet's like, "Aha! There it is." So, what does that mean for their match that's coming down the road? That we should have seen in Houston. Unfortunately, we don't get to. But
well, now you bring it up and everything's okay.
Hey, you already brought it up, so anyway, feel free to chime in about that match, because that's going to be great.
That was a good match. Now,
that was a good match. We haven't seen that match. I'm talking about changeover. God Lord.
No, I mean the Claudia Dolph versus Warfather.
Yes, now we can move on to that, I guess.
This was the first time we saw the Warfather on his own. So previously we had only seen him like in a Inner Geekdom. It was like a 3-way. Before that was the cutscene with him talking to Lady Fife about participating in the Inner Geekdom. There was something special about that episode too. I can't remember.
Yes, you can.
Oh yeah, that's right. That was the same episode that I was playing in. So yeah, we have unfortunately, I would say, at least me, I have a special connection to the Warfather there, in that we both debuted in the same episode.
Warfather doesn't even know it.
Well, no, he does. We talked to him at the
oh, that's right.
We talked to him at the awards draft. That's and
right.
Like, hey, you and I were debuted in the same Schmoedown episode, so...
And he went, huzzah!
He
brother in arms!
He actually did, which was kind of funny. And
he actually talks like that all the time.
In real life.
There is no real personality to the Warfather. The Warfather is the real personality. If you look at his Twitter handle, it was Eric W. Barnes, right?
That's not... No, the Warfather is the real person. That's what the W stands for.
Yeah, it's Eric Warfather Barnes.
Yeah.
He just chose a random name to put around the Warfather because Twitter required that, I guess. I just made up a bunch of stuff.
That sounds good.
Yeah.
But
I thought that was an interesting match, though, because for all intents and purposes, Claudia Dolph, who's been talked up by Christian and company, been a friend of them, has been talked up, should have effectively won that match because she did have Warfather kind of dead to rights there at the end.
Especially how many times she's been passed around between the factions. She got traded, like, twice before she even played?
She got drafted, I believe, by Kaiser, then got traded over to the Droogs, and then got traded from the Droogs for Bonnie, for some reason, over to Corruption.
Which I would actually like to see a Claudia Dolph versus Bonnie Somerville at this point. Just let's see if that was actually a good decision.
Yeah, so...
Even though Bonnie's actually also already been traded, so...
Yeah, so we look at a match where Claudia probably should have won that one.
Speaking of corruption, did you see the that video
Shannon's-
that Shannon did? Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that's...
Shannon, if she didn't have heel of the year at the draft by splitting up the wild berries,
She does.
She has heel of the year now.
Yeah.
Because that was amazing.
I'm not sure just the one song would have done it. I think she's just flat out sealed because the Wildberry split up, but...
By the end of the year, I'm hoping for an entire album of Shannon Barney's like greatest hits of being a heel.
Yeah. So...
I don't care if corruption actually ever wins during this year. I'm down for that.
I think Shannon cares. In that match, though, Claudia should have won, but Warfather did, and having being the Warfather, you have to be pretty jolly. Would that be the word he would use? Jovial, quite jovial. Huzzah! To have won that match. Especially when you were on track to lose it. And this is his first match outside of Inner Geekdom, which we've only seen him in Inner Geekdom. So this is his first foray into singles. And so we've gotten to see a little bit of how he plays in singles. On the flip side, if you're Robert Meyer Burnett...
You're feeling pretty good right about now.
You're also feeling good because you've won your third match in a row.
Even though you completely forgot to draft the Cinefanatics to your team, even though one of us took your team, the family, to round 3 and did not end in a KO or TKO.
And then he proceeded to ask what we can offer to his team.
What can we offer to your team? Someone who was affected by the studio lights took your team to round 3. What can we offer your team? Whatever.
We've been watching the Schmoedown since pretty much his debut, and we can't offer anything. We don't know how the game is played.
Whatever.
Anyway, that guy aside, he's winning some matches, so good for him, I guess. The Droogs aren't last in the standings right now.
Luck still plays a part in this.
I guess. I mean, look, to his credit, he's got a good team with Deep 13.
And a fantastic jacket.
He's got Ethan Irwin, which Ethan Irwin is a good player. But, outside of that, there you have it.
Anyways, not personal at all whatsoever.
So we got some fun stuff still looking forward to in the Schmoedown here. I know we got a few more weeks left of studio matches before those run out, and then we turn to just the exhibition matches that are popping up on the Patreon.
So speaking of Patreon, if you're following the Schmoedown, if you're one of the people watching us right now that knows what the Schmoedown is already, go hop on their Patreon. These exhibition matches is what's keeping them alive for this season, which is, again, the new era. That's, I would say, more important now than ever. Good job.
Don't litter, guys.
And it's what's going to keep them alive. Go hop on the Patreon. Watch these exhibition matches. They're going to be good. I know for a fact we have the Back to the Future exhibition matches coming up. One of the players is going to be Brad Gilmore, who was on our season opener reaction. We actually drove out to Houston to meet up with him at Booker T's Arena, and he did the reaction to, the New York Live event with us. He had never done a reaction. We have never seen him play along or have any idea how good his movie knowledge is, and he did fantastic on that reaction, just in general trivia. He wrote a book that is currently on sale right now, Back from the Future. You can go pick it up at Amazon or any other, place where you pick up books.
That link is not in the description.
That link's not on the description, but I'm pretty sure y'all all know where Amazon.com is. Yeah. Go pick up that book. He is participating in this Back to the Future match, and I'm going to be shocked. I know I love the Back to the Future trilogy. Back to the Future 3 is easily the best Western ever made.
Yeah.
Not including the hotels. But it is... I feel very confident in competing in a Back to the Future exhibition match.
Yeah.
I don't know how I would do against him. I love the movies, but someone who wrote a book, that's gonna be pretty.
Oh, look at that.
Oh, Nerd Chronic, Eric Rodriguez. He is the editor for the Schmoedown.
Your echo's back, by the way.
Oh, the echo is back.
I'm
All right,
going
let me
to
fix that real quick. I love that I know how to fix this now.
Apparently it works. Yeah. As soon as he plugs it back in, let us know if it sounds better. We got a little bit more left to do on this episode, so.
There we go. I fixed it. Phil is back because it's echoing, so it's just replaying the same thing over and over. Are you talking about Phil Connors?
Phil Collins?
Phil. Oh, well, okay. So they were saying Phil Collins because of the Phil Collins has a lot of echo in his songs.
Can you feel it coming in the air tonight?
I was kind of thinking Phil Connors from Groundhog Day, in which the echo is that he relives the same day over and over again. So
That's a movie reference.
Tyler, that's a good reference if you actually meant that.
Both. It's both.
And we don't know exactly what you meant, so
Just
feel
say
free
both.
to just say both.
Just say both. And Eric says sounds good now. Cool.
Awesome.
Yeah, so Eric Rodriguez, Nerd Chronic, in our chat here, the Schmoedown editor extraordinaire, saying he's actually finishing the Back to the Future match tonight. So that's a little fun behind the scenes there.
I cannot wait to watch that one.
It's gonna be good stuff.
I think we are actually we're going to film reactions to these exhibition matches.
Yep.
As of right now, the idea is that the exhibition matches are only available to Patreon members.
Patrons.
Yeah. So therefore, what we're going to do is we're going to film these reactions and submit them to Emma Fife, who is the person running the Schmoedown Patreon.
She's put reactions for us up on the Patreon before, so we should effectively have more reactions to Patreon matches available on Patreon. I know that they've been talking about going ahead and putting them in the Discord also for the Schmoedown. So,
in which, if you're in the Discord, you're a Patreon member anyways.
Yeah.
So if you want to see our reactions, our thoughts, feelings, and opinions of those exhibition matches, make sure you hop on to the Schmoedown Patreon, because that's where they're going to get posted eventually.
Yep. And yes, we still want to go ahead and get those done too, because that's a lot of people like to see those, like to play along with other people and all that. So yeah, Jake said no public reactions for exhibition matches. Yeah, so they're not going to be anything that's going to be released on YouTube. They're going to be videos that live on our channel that you're not going to be able to see unless you're a Schmoedown Patreon member.
Yeah, I think we've got a couple of them on there already. So we do have videos in our backlog that are only allowed to see if you're a Schmoedown Patreon. So
yeah, so we will
don't mind doing that, because all that does is to support the sport that we love oh so much.
Yep. Tyler says thought she left it to someone else already. No, I think probably given the current situation, she has maintained control over running the Patreon for the time being. She hasn't passed it on just quite yet.
But we believe that will be happening
at some point.
I
don't know if there's any confirmation on that. Eric might know more about that than I do, and that's fine. Doesn't really matter at this point either way. Just know that Emma's still running it for now. Anyway, speaking of all things Patreon, here's the funny thing. I want to talk about our Patreon, and I will kind of talk about some of these tiers that we have up here.
Yep.
But Patreon is down at the moment for maintenance. Yeah, which is hilarious.
Which is ironic for us.
We a week ago, hey, next week we're going to be talking about our new Patreon. We're going to unleash it and make it go live and everything. And then today it's like, oh, by the way, hey, here at Patreon, we're about to go down for maintenance at the exact time you guys are going to be live tonight.
Yeah, so we're like, yeah, we want to be like normal YouTubers. We want to be able to be like, hey, we got a Patreon. Hop on our Patreon. Follow us on Patreon.
Yeah.
No, Patreon won't let us.
So,
punks.
I did refresh Patreon just a second ago, and it moved directly to a screen that said, "Hey, we're down for maintenance." So I just hit back.
So you do have the list of whoever's signed up so far.
I have the tiers. I do not. Well, actually, I was gonna say I do not have the list, but they all came through as emails. So I have literally emails of every single person who signed up. So I can actually call people out that way.
Do I have access to this?
I am not certain. Maybe. Let me see. Yes, you do. It's on our Cinefanatics email. So
Okay.
have that there. But real quick before we cover kind of like the big thank yous to everybody who's already signed up, I just want to quickly go over some of the
Ooh, very nice.
some of the tiers that we have here and what we're gonna kind of wanting to be doing right off the bat for our Patreon. We did want to set out a bunch of tiers with a bunch of ideas and stuff that we wanted to do, but given our current situation, you still have like a full-time job. I'm still having to attempt to work full-time just to get the business off the ground and kind of make ends meet and everything for right now. We just don't have the time at the moment to do everything that we want to initially offer, or eventually offer, I should say. But until we get to that point, we do have 3 tiers up there right now. Now, the tier structure is every tier is named after either a movie character or a group of movie characters. And that theming is going to carry on once we unveil more tiers, when we get to the point of unveiling more tiers. Right now, we have our Neo tier is our $1 tier. We have hold on.
Oh.
We have the Dude tier, which is our $5 tier, and then we have the Avengers tier, which is the $10 tier.
I'm wanting to run into the joke already.
Yeah, calm down. We'll get there. For those of you who aren't able to look at the Patreon site right now, which most of you, unless you already had it up, can't, because again, they're under maintenance now.
Until like what, 1 a.m. Central Time?
Something like that.
So feel free to stay up until after 1 a.m. Central Time.
Yeah, like we got right here, Brandon Buckingham in the chat says, as soon as Patreon is up, I'll support you guys. Thank you so much, Brandon. Really appreciate that. Because of your Patreon supportage, we will let you go ahead and say whatever you want about Whataburger, and it's going to be okay. Because you're giving us money. Let's see how that works. You're giving us money to go get Whataburger.
I mean,
as soon as I can taste again. All right, so real quick, let's go through these tiers. The $1 tier is the Neo tier. Why is the $1 tier called the Neo tier?
Because Neo is the one.
Ha ha ha! It's funny.
It's a play on the fact that Neo is the one. And if you don't know what that means, you need to watch The Matrix. And if we're going to go back and talk about movies that you should have watched by now, that you need to watch, like Casablanca,
yeah,
you need to have watched The Matrix already, at least the first one.
Yeah.
Like, I can understand if you pass on, like, the second or third, the Reloaded and Revolutions, whatever. That's cool. But
I've seen the first one.
What, you've never seen Reloaded or Revolutions? Oh, so you're good. Yeah, at least watch The Matrix.
I believe I've actually seen the Animatrix also, which is the only other Matrix thing out there that is worth seeing besides the first one.
Adam's Brothers #1 fan said, can a one-time gift be the Highlander tier? That's actually awesome.
I love that comment.
There can be only one.
Wow. That is... Can we like highlight a comment as top tier comment? That was a good one.
That's a really good reference. I actually I do like that reference there. That's fantastic. I love it.
I approve of your,
I'm actually stunned and like speechless at the quality of that comment there.
I approve of your yucking there.
Yeah, we should actually make that. If there's a possibility to make just a one-off, like a one-time gift tier,
I don't
think there is.
I've not heard.
But like the award for that should be like us singing like Princes of the Universe or something at that point.
Yeah,
it's a song from Highlander done by
I get
Queen.
It.
Okay.
Yes. I've heard of Queen.
Okay.
Okay, so the $1 tier says, at this tier you are a Neo. Neo is one who gives us the ones. Ha. This is our entry level of support, and to show our gratitude, we're going to give you guys a thank you shout out in our video descriptions and access to the Patreon community. It's the base level of support. You get access to all the community posts as well as your name typed out in our description for pretty much every single video right now.
Yeah.
That's basically how it's going to work for the time being.
As soon as I figure out how to incorporate that into videos, once we actually start doing videos again.
Whenever we have movies to talk about and watch.
Trailer reactions and movie reviews, yeah.
So thank you to everybody who's at the Neo tier. I honestly, I don't know if anyone's at that. I think everyone chose tiers above that. So
Yeah, which is awesome.
I got Movie Fanobi, who is hit a.
How did you hit a $2 tier?
I don't know. I don't have a $2 tier. So Movie Fanobi has broken Patreon somehow and hit a tier that we don't have. I don't know. I might have to look into that, but I don't really want to call out everybody's different levels here, but I do like that.
Because we don't have a $2 tier.
We don't have a $2 tier, and
how is that possible?
Movie Fanobi is such a rock star that
apparently
they went ahead and hit a $2 tier that we don't have. Is that our Patreon? Interesting. Anyway, $5 tier. It's the dude El Duderino.
You've been fed. What do you want?
For those of you who are familiar with The Big Lebowski, which again should be most people who love movies should be familiar with The Big Lebowski.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of the Coen Brothers classics.
Yeah, very much so.
So a patron at the dude tier is absolutely helping us abide. You duders and El Duderinos are truly tying our content together.
You know, if you're into that whole brevity thing.
To thank you, we offer some fun features as part of our community, including what we're calling monthly trivia nights for right now, and more to come. Don't be out of your element, and you can find us in the Alps here.
You can find us in the Alps.
You can find us in the Alps. You can find these strangers in the Alps. That's what happens when you find us on the Alps. That is a deep cut reference for those of you.
That is, and if anyone gets that, more power to you. That is an awesome reference. I absolutely love that.
Oh, Brandon says you can do a custom amount. Okay, well, there you go.
Oh, okay.
I guess that explains that.
I absolutely love learning about Patreon after we actually launch our own Patreon.
You know what? It's going to be a learning process because there's a lot about Patreon I definitely still don't know, and that we're all going to be learning together as
here's the thing.
One solid Cinefanatic crew.
Here's the thing. I don't want to feel like I'm name dropping, but
just pick it back up once you drop it.
Yeah, the creator of Patreon is Jack Conti.
Yeah,
who's also one of the members of the band Pomplamoose.
Pomplamoose.
Yeah. So
fantastic LaCroix flavor, apparently.
Yeah. Jeez. So you've actually talked to him.
I had a brief conversation with him. Yeah.
You had a conversation with him in regards. He's probably given some of the best information. So the past 2 years, we've gone to VidCon, which is the big YouTuber convention in Anaheim, California.
Yep.
Last year we went to one of the things they did there was the panels. Yeah, that's what it is.
I couldn't think of the word panel.
Can't think of the word panel, apparently. One of the panels was hosted by him, in which he was talking about Patreon. As YouTubers, and this was probably one of the greatest, most inspirational things I heard, is by signing up for Patreon, does that mean that you're selling out? No. What he was saying is that you are a creative person. If you have the cojones, second time using that. Chutzpah.
Word of the night.
Yeah.
Just like Pee-wee. The word of the day is chutzpah.
Yeah, okay.
Check your mic again.
Yeah. There's probably an echo on that. That if you have the chutzpah to put yourself out there publicly and tell people, like, hey, I got a movie channel, but I've never seen Casablanca. If you're the type of creative person to do something like that, then absolutely put yourself on Patreon.
Yeah.
Earn money for your creativity. If you know what you're talking about, if you're confident enough, if the general audience is going to follow you.
And since YouTube is terrible at monetization sometimes.
Absolutely. It's not necessarily like selling out creatively. I think I just made up that word.
I think you added 3 syllables to a word that didn't have them before.
Creatively. I can't say it.
Put the wrong emphasis on the wrong
syllable. Yeah. That's what, View from the Top?
Yep.
Yeah.
Mike Myers.
Yep. With Gwyneth Paltrow.
Sign up for our Patreon, guys.
Yeah. So if you know enough about what you're talking about, then put yourself out there and Yeah, have people follow you. People want to follow you. Generally, people are going to want to see this type of creativity expand. Whether you're someone that knows about movies, or you have a good band, or you're starting to take 2 hours to get your thoughts and feelings and opinions across. We're almost done, y'all. Anyways, so yeah, I actually really like the idea of the Patreon, and Jack Conte he's fantastic as being a founding member. Yep. The person who founded the Patreon.
He's a good guy.
Yeah.
So some of the stuff that we do at the $5 tier right now, I said we're doing the monthly trivia nights. What we're going to do is we're going to find a way, we're going to go back and watch some of those old Schmoedown matches. I know a lot of you guys who follow us and have even signed up for the Patreon are very familiar with the Schmoedown and like to play along with it. We want to have a live situation where we play along with you guys. Different ways that we can make that work and how we're going to make it work, I'm not quite sure yet, but I want to do some fun stuff with it as much as possible. So for the time being, we're going to be doing at least once a month, we're going to be doing a Schmoedown watch along where you can watch old matches, play along with us live. We'll be streaming them live and kind of doing all that. We'll figure out how that looks. I think we'll probably try to work on one for next month. Obviously, it's end of April right now, so we're not going to do one this month.
Yeah, I think a lot of this, like, as far as, like, whatever requires us to do, like, a watch-along or play-along, I don't think we're going to actually do till probably, like, mid to end of May.
Yeah.
Just because we're just now creating this. It's going to take us some time. Also, the fact that, again, still, like, somewhat of reminiscence of a cold and then whatever it is you're dealing with right now. Let's give us some time for all that to pass before we start adding to, essentially, the workload. And I'm not complaining at all whatsoever, because I know as soon as movies come back, the workload for our channel quadruples again. But
so it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun going into the fall.
Yeah,
but
absolutely all game for it.
Hopefully by that time we have a good grasp on how this Patreon thing works, and so by then we'll be good.
I'm still live streaming.
Yeah, you already got fed. What's wrong with you?
You already got fed. What do you need now?
You also get an on-screen thank you at that $5 tier. That's just where we're at right now. We're gonna give you some thanks on screen once we get some videos out there and everything. So that's at the $5 tier. At the $10 tier, that's the Avengers tier. At this Patreon tier, we consider you a true believer. Nice catchphrase from the one true legend of Stan Lee. Rest in peace. Yep. You're an Avenger, and we're calling you to assemble for monthly movie watch-alongs. You'll also get to help us decide which movies to watch, and then also at the $5 tier, which Schmoedown matches that we're going to watch. So $10 patrons get to decide what $5 patrons get to play along with, essentially.
Oh, that's kind of funny how that worked out.
Yep, and I wrapped it up with enough said right there, too. So, so that's right. We're going to be doing monthly movie watch-alongs. We're going to kind of also work out with you guys what that looks like. There's certain movies that we are definitely not going to be watching along. There's specifically... like I don't do horror movies specifically, but on top of that, there's even more things that are considered movies that we don't want to have anything to do with on this channel.
So
we will not be taking those requests.
I was thinking about this earlier in regards to how to, I guess, phrase or wrap this up. Yeah, out of all movies that do exist, you are not a huge fan of horror.
Yeah.
Now, just here's the thing. With it being a horror movie, just because the movie's considered horror doesn't mean you necessarily are going to automatically put your foot down and not watch it.
No, I love Get Out and Us.
You've seen horror movies before.
Yeah.
But I think, like, in regards to those, there are going to be some, like, with me being the so-called horror movie expert of this channel, that I'm going to probably, like, okay, if you recommend this movie, if I know about this movie already, I'm going to probably put some forth of a recommendation to him and let him know whether or not he's capable of watching it. I know you're not a huge fan of, like, gore.
Yeah, not a huge fan of gore, but on the flip side,
if there's anything that shows like insides or whatever,
right?
That's not gonna fly.
Not a huge fan of gore, but on the flip side, I know over on the Schmoedown, real quick, they are building up the number of, I guess, followers over on their new Twitch channel, and once they hit that 4,000 level, Christian's gonna do a watch along of The Thing.
I love The Thing. That's one of my favorite horror movies ever.
I just like Christian have not seen The Thing, and
There's a reason why.
and there's a reason why. It might not have been one of those movies that I would have ran to ever on my own, but you can bet your sweet bippy, talking about dated reference, that I'm going to be watching along with Christian as soon as they do a watch along for that.
And for those of you who have seen The Thing, who have a good appreciation for The Thing, y'all have, I guess, maybe some kind of an idea of how amazing is that going to be for him to watch it?
Yeah.
Because that has got to be one of John Carpenter's like best movies. And yeah, it's a little graphic. Now, granted, that movie came out in the early 80s, so the graphics are dated. But, I mean, overall in general...
Nice Play-Doh.
Yeah, well, no, that's Evil Dead. Evil Dead
right.
is all Play-Doh.
Right.
But even so, you're not going to watch Evil Dead. So, yeah, there's certain types of movies that are not going to be done. Yeah. Me personally, again, as a diehard underground indie horror movie fan, pretty much I feel safe in saying, and not being humble at all, if there's a horror movie you're going to think of, I'm probably already aware of it. There is a very huge, not huge actually, there is a very strict core list of movies. I'm not even going to mention what the movies are by title. Yeah. But there's an absolute, there's no way, shape, or form those movies are ever going to get watched by me.
I think we get the point.
Especially if any of them deal with like the month of August. That's as far as I'll take that.
I think the one good rule of thought is if you have to ask whether or not we would watch along with it, we probably won't.
There's some you're free to.
That's a pretty good flat rule. Let's just leave it at that. If you have to, would they watch along with us? We probably won't. Most movies we will. Just talk to me about it off camera. The reason I'm sticking with this.
Well, I would push it just the one step further in that. Let me look into it. If it's a movie that we look into, we make the ultimate decision. Yeah. Just keep in mind, there's movies out there we're not going to watch. We're not going to do that.
Anyway, to harp on and stay a long time on this tier for the movies that we're not going to watch, because
it's pretty much graphic horror movies.
What's the point of talking about this tier if all you're going to talk about is the movies you're not going to watch?
It's graphic horror movies, pretty much.
There's a lot of movies at the $10 tier we are going to be very happy and going to have a lot of fun watching along with you guys, and we can't wait. So
there's so some of the ones I know I would like to do is I know I would like to do a watch along of Shawshank Redemption.
Yeah.
You'd probably like to do a good watch along of like La La Land.
Oh, absolutely.
One of the ones I was kind of thinking that would be a good starting point, and again, feel free to let us know if you want to change this. This is just my thought right off the bat. I want to start with something a lot more fun and something that we could probably give some like behind the scenes insight commentary to. Yeah. I'm thinking something like Demolition Man. Now, granted, keep in mind,
I like Taco Bell.
Yeah, we might not use any kind of like harsh language on here, but the nice thing about a watch along is you're not hearing the movie from us. So, yeah, we might be doing watch alongs to like R-rated movies and stuff that will have that harsh language.
We are a family-friendly channel here. That does not necessarily mean that we're only going to be watching family-friendly movies. And so it's at the viewer's discretion as to whether or not you want to participate in that watch along. Anyway, that's at the $10 tier.
But I'm thinking like Demolition Man would be a great like launching point. If y'all want to, again, $10 tier, if y'all choose something else, feel free to choose something else.
I'll make polls and create posts and whatnot on the Patreon later so we can all decide as a loving crew as to what we're going to be doing going into next month.
Yep.
And when we're going to do them. Real quick, I want to shout out, we got a list of one, two, 3, 4, 5 patrons already right off the bat. And I want to just shout out all of y'all by name real quick because you deserve to be so. Jumping on our Patreon at the top. We got AJ, who we mentioned earlier as our first patron. AJ Lancaster, he's jumped in there. Tyler Schwent. Tyler's one of the dungeon masters over on the Schmoedown, on the fan group for the dungeon. So glad
Tyler's,
to have him here.
Tyler's been a fan of us for like pretty much since we started this.
Yeah, Tyler's a longtime fan. Glad to have Tyler on board. As we said earlier, movie Fenobi apparently doing a custom amount. Jake Yacovetta, of course, Jake is there. Jake is one of the best supporters in all of fandom. Essentially, he's there helping everybody out in every way he can. Great selfless supporter there. We love Jake Yacovetta here. Even if he does prefer me over you, we both love him very much. So glad to have Jake jumping on board there. And Joe Elliott. Joe Elliott is actually somebody I'll jump out there. Joe Elliott is somebody I've known for quite a long time, personal friend in my life. So I'm glad to see him jumping in there, and just really thankful for his constant support and guidance in my life, and everything he's done for me and both of us at this point.
I was gonna say, I know him too.
I've known him longer.
I've been to his house.
Yeah. So glad to have my friend Joe on there as well. Anyway, that's it, guys. We got a Patreon out there. We are official YouTubers now. We're not doing it full time yet, but hopefully with your help, we can get to the point where we can quit doing all this other nonsense that's wasting our time in our day-to-day lives, and just stick to YouTube and me with video production stuff too.
Something that makes us happy that we are able to do. Just that would be phenomenal.
Yep. That way, whenever the next pandemic strikes, we're good. We can just stay home and not have to worry about anything.
And just watch movies all day.
Yeah.
And then tell you all about the movies that we recommend y'all watch.
That would be wonderful. But anyway, I think that's going to do it for this show. I'm going to drop all the places people can find us and all of our plugs and whatnot. Just like my nose is plugged up, we got plugs where you can plug into us.
Real quick before we end, we did grab a Streamlab there.
Streamlab.
PC dropped $5 Streamlab. Congratulations, guys. Favorite classic movie?
Oh, yeah, let's answer that real quick.
Classic movie.
I consider 12 Angry Men a classic movie, and that is 100% my answer. 12 Angry Men is one of my favorite movies.
That's what I figured you were going to answer.
Yeah.
I just watched Casablanca for the first time this past week, and I thought it was really good.
You can't do recency bias over it, though.
But that's the problem, is recency bias. So, I mean, growing up as a kid, I would say I was a huge fan of, like, Mary Poppins, Pinocchio. I watched those like constantly, like every weekend or so. Sometimes multiple times a weekend. Like our parents were, I drove my parents up a wall because I was always watching Mary Poppins.
We get it. It's a spoonful of sugar. Good Lord.
It helps the medicine go down. Dang it. I would say those are probably, well, okay. I'll also throw in Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. Which was done by Ian Fleming, who also created James Bond.
Yeah, there you go. Fun fact.
So, Chitty Chitty Bang Bang was a good one as far as like my love of musicals and
sentient cars.
The car wasn't necessarily sentient.
Semi-sentient cars.
I would say more of like my love of
sentient cars.
of Dick Van Dyke. Early Dick Van Dyke was really good.
He loves Dick Van Dyke.
Wow. Just had to take it there, didn't he?
He's a great actor. I don't know what you're talking about. He is a great actor.
Will he or won't he trip over that ottoman? Who knows? Watch us next time on the Dick Van Dyke Show. But yeah, I would say those for like my early
actual classic movies.
Yeah. I keep thinking of some more too.
Nope. Pick one.
Yeah. The other one, only other one I will mention is probably going to be Absent-Minded Professor.
Nice. Because
that was another one I liked as a kid. For those not familiar, Absent-Minded Professor is the original Flubber that starred Robin Williams. Absent-Minded Professor was the original version of that movie, starred Fred McMurray. Same kind of premise where he creates goo that bounces around a lot. Just the goo wasn't sentient as it was in the Robin Williams movie. But yeah, I would say all of those probably cover my classic movies.
Yep. It's good choices. Yeah, so once again, I think that's going to do it for us after that. And where can all the kids find us? You can find us at all the handles and whatnot that you see down here. We are literally at our name MLP almost everywhere. Cinefanatics MLP.
I need to stick the Cinefanatics one right over here, like in the middle.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
So I'll stick the Cinefanatics one in there. So follow us at Cinefanatics MLP or our individual Twitter and Instagram handles, like right here. He's got his down below him as well.
No, again, I don't. You silly.
Also, again, if you feel like donating anything, there's the Streamlabs, streamlabs.com/Cinefanatics. There's also, again, our Patreon, which we just launched today, patreon.com/Cinefanatics. You can send Patreon memberships over there. Here comes the cough again. Falling on my head like a memory. Oh yes, here comes the sun. I was doing the Eurythmics. Here comes the cough again.
Hey, this show's been going on a while.
Falling on my head like a memory. Anyways, that's all the places you can follow us. Again, make sure you subscribe to this channel. It will help us out. Make sure you like this video if you're watching this on a replay, because I know we're like at 12 watching now and 17 likes. Thank y'all so much for liking this video. Anyways, that's going to do it for this. We will see y'all again next week. Don't know what we're doing next week yet, so nothing to call ahead, but it's going to be fun. It's going to be wild. It's going to be interesting. Make sure y'all join us. We will see y'all next week. And laters.
And as always, catchphrase.
Yep.
Wrap it up.
Later.